How rich would you be in the Stone Age? You're standing at the checkout. The card reader is thinking, and so are you. You open your banking app. You look at the number, and that number decides what kind of mood you're allowed to have for the rest of the day. It's a strange system. A tiny number inside a glass rectangle tells you how to feel about your whole life. But it's the system we've got, and it works great, and I'm sure there are no downsides at all. So here's a dumb question I couldn't stop thinking about. What if you were exactly this rich? Same number, same rank, same position in the line, but 30,000 years ago. Who would you be? A chief? A king? Would people carry you around on a really nice flat rock? Great news. The answer is no. But the reason it's no is the most interesting thing I've learned all year. So stay, because by the end of this, you're going to know exactly which Stone Age person you are. And I'm sorry in advance. You have $1 billion. At about $25 an hour, that's 40 million hours of human work. 40 million beads. Slight problem. If every single adult in Ice Age Europe stopped what they were doing and carved beads for you, 8 hours a day, no days off, it would take them almost 3 years because there weren't that many people. One study estimated that during the coldest stretch, the entire continent held somewhere around 5,000 adults. That's a small town, spread across a whole continent, with mammoths in between. But fine, let's say you're the top of the pile. Here is what your life actually looks like. Where you live. In Ukraine, people built houses out of mammoth bones, several hundred bones and tusks stacked into a dome 6 to 10 meters across. A single big mammoth bone weighs as much as a person. Somebody had to drag every one of those. And here's the part I love. One of those houses was in use for over 400 years. That's your mansion. It's made of the biggest animals on Earth, and it outlives your great-great-grandchildren. What you own. A coat with thousands of beads on it. Flint from a famous quarry 300 kilometers away. Maybe 15 spears, a few dogs, some fur nobody else has. That's it. That's the whole list. You could carry your entire fortune, your people. This is the real number. You know 200 people by name. In a world of a few thousand, that's a noticeable slice of everyone alive. When you say there's a feast, people walk for 3 days to get to it. Your family, 3 wives, 10 children who make it past 5. In a world where the average man is lucky to raise 2, that is the flex. Your wealth is measured in humans who look like you. And here's the twist. Anthropologists have a name for this person. They call him a big man. And a big man doesn't get big by keeping things. He gets big by giving everything away to keep the influence. Now here's what genuinely surprised me. In our world, the gap between a millionaire and a billionaire is 1,000 times. In the Stone Age, it's 1 extra wife and a slightly better coat. So who are you at millionaire level? You're the best hunter in the region, and there's real research on this. Across 5 completely separate groups on different continents, scientists found the same pattern. The better hunters had more children, and they had younger wives, and other men got out of their way. Note what they did not get. More meat. They didn't get more meat. The meat gets shared no matter what. So your bonus for being the most skilled, hardest working person in your world is additional children, which, having met children, I would not describe as a bonus. You have $100,000 in your bank account. This is most of us. Not rich, not broke, has stuff. Who would you be in ancient times? In 1991, 2 hikers in the Alps found a guy sticking out of the ice. We call him Ötzi. And Ötzi was doing fine. He had a copper axe. Not stone, copper. 99.7% pure, poured into a mold and hammered. Barely anyone had one. And the copper didn't come from nearby. It came from Tuscany, more than 500 kilometers away. That's a supercar. That's a man parking outside a restaurant in something the whole village turns around to look at. He also had shoes of bear hide and deer hide, stuffed with grass for warmth. A coat sewn from at least 4 different animals, birch bark containers, a fire kit, a yew bow. So what's your actual day? We can guess pretty well because groups like the Hadza in Tanzania still live something close to it. The men walk around 14 kilometers a day. The women, about 8. 13 to 19,000 steps. And here's a genuinely weird finding. When researchers measured how many calories they burn in a day, it was about the same as yours. Fun, useless fact. Good news. At this tier, you're comfortable. Small cons: worn out knees, stiff arteries, gum disease, whipworm, and Ötzi was lactose intolerant, which in Copper Age Europe is basically being allergic to water. Then somebody shot him in the back with an arrow and left him on a mountain. They left the axe. To be fair, everybody in the nearby village would know if you rolled in his supercar. $10,000. You have $10,000. About 400 beads. So the guy above you has a coat. You have a necklace. Congratulations, you're an adult. Here's who you'd be. Nobody. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. You're a normal, competent, working member of the band. Nobody writes songs about you. Nobody walks 3 days to your feast because you don't have one. Almost everyone was this. $10,000 isn't middle class in the Stone Age. It's standard. Everything you own fits in one bag over your shoulder. A digging stick, a knife, some cord, a fire kit, a skin you carry food, firewood, and a baby in, all at the same time. Your necklace. That's it. That's your net worth. And you could stand up right now and walk away with all of it. But here's what $10,000 actually is. It's not rich. It's a buffer. It's the car breaks down money. It's the 3 months where you don't have to panic. And they had that too. It just wasn't in a bank. In the Kalahari, sand people take ostrich eggs, drain them, fill them with water, and seal the hole with beeswax. Then they bury them along the paths they walk, at spots they remember. Some of them decorated, so you know which ones are yours. That's a savings account. It's just underground and shaped like an egg. And the second half of your buffer is the part nobody can touch. You know where every one of those eggs is. You know which plants are food and which ones end your afternoon. You know where the water is in a drought. Your savings can't be frozen. It can't crash. It can't be stolen. Because it's inside your skull. Oh, and one more thing. Remember the copper axe? The supercar? Copper is soft. It bends. It needs sharpening constantly. A good flint edge, the one you've got for free, is sharper. So a big chunk of what he paid for was the fact that you couldn't have one, which is the oldest business model on Earth, and it's still open. Now, zero. Nothing in the account. You're the poorest adult in your village. Here's your dinner, the same dinner as the big man. Possibly better because he gave most of his away buying loyalty, and you didn't have to. This is the part that reorganized my brain. In these groups, meat isn't the hunters. Among the hoansi of southern Africa, a big animal belongs to whoever owned the arrow that killed it. And people hand each other arrows constantly. So a man who slept in can wake up in charge of dinner. They also insult the meat. When a hunter drags home something enormous, everyone tells him it's thin, it's bones, it wasn't worth the walk. And he agrees. He apologizes for it. An anthropologist named Richard Lee found this out the hard way. He bought the biggest, fattest ox he could find as a Christmas gift for the camp. Everyone told him it was a disgusting bag of skin, and they'd all go hungry. He was crushed. He'd actually picked perfectly. They were doing it on purpose. Because, as one man finally explained, a young man who kills a lot of meat starts to think he's a chief. And a chief gets people killed. So they built an entire economy for one job: stop anybody from becoming the main character. Which means being broke in the Stone Age looks like this. Rent, 0. Commute, 0. Dinner, provided. Healthcare, a woman who knows a plant and a prayer. Retirement plan, death. You are poor and you are fed. There is no such thing as no food today because you have no money. That sentence would not make sense to anyone back then. Minus. Overdrawn. The number has a little dash in front of it. Good news. No banks. No credit score. Nobody is calling you. Small downside, in the Stone Age, debt isn't a number. Debt is people. And here's the strange part. You'd be in debt to everybody. Constantly. On purpose. That was the goal. The hoansi have a system called sharo. You keep gift partners in other camps, sometimes 100 kilometers away, and you swap small things back and forth for years. Beads, tools, not because you need the stuff, because if your water hole dries up, you need somewhere to walk to. Their savings account was other people. Owing and being owed is what kept you alive. A person with no debts is a person with no one, so you can't go bankrupt. But there is something worse. If you take and never give, if you hoard, if you lie, people stop needing you. And a person nobody needs isn't a person with a problem. So your credit score does exist. It's just made of 30 people who remember exactly how you behaved the last time the food ran out. So if you are in debt, would at most mean someone would ask you to do something or hold on to something. That is it. Here's the bit I keep thinking about. Wealth like ours only became possible when we could store things. So one kind of wealth is things, but there's a second kind, and it's the one that lasts. Skills. Skills were worth a lot 30,000 years ago. Skills are worth a lot today. Skills don't crash, and nobody can take them off you. So learn things, because that's the part of you that would have been worth something back then too. So, your real Stone Age net worth. 4 questions. Can you make something people actually need? Could you walk 20 kilometers tomorrow without crying? Do people enjoy having you around? And if you broke your leg today, how many people would carry you? That's your back then balance. Look, I've been sarcastic for this entire video, but if you want to know what I honestly think real wealth is, being useful, being loved, being healthy, and 40 million beads. I want 40 million beads.